What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to Double Upload December, day 27. That's right, 27 days of uploading 2 times a day. And believe it or not, I'm filming this on August 8th. So super far in advance. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe to my second channel if you want to get some DYDSS merchandise or join the Precious Metals VIP Club. It's all linked in the description. Today, I wanted to talk about stacking copper. Now, not really stacking copper as in converting my dollars into copper or going after a whole bunch of copper or really investing any amount of time, energy, or effort into finding copper, but rather stacking it for free. And I'm going to talk about this by showing off some copper pennies right here. I'm going to be talking about the weight. I'm going to be talking about pre-1982 and post-1982 pennies, as well as some copper rounds and I guess technically bar, bullet, whatever you want to call that. So first things first, I do not convert my dollars into copper. I've only done it twice with these 2 rounds right here. That 2-ounce copper bullet, that was actually a gift, believe it or not. This right here, 2 ounces of 3/9 fine copper. You should be able to see that right there. I have a light over here because I knew copper is going to be pretty difficult to really see. I don't know if you can really... Yeah, both my hands are kind of busy at the moment. So, 2 ounces, 3/9 fine copper. This is actually really cool. My very first piece of copper ever was this right here. This would just simply be a 1-ounce copper round. Looks like a penny, a really big penny. You flip it over. 1 ounce, 3/9 fine copper, Golden State Mint. Now, what's interesting about copper is you'll notice it says 1 ounce. It doesn't say a troy ounce, and that's because this is not a precious metal. Troy ounces, that's exclusive to precious metals, silver, gold, etc., etc., etc. Copper is an industrial metal, 100% an industrial metal. It's not one of those things kind of like how silver is a little bit of both. It's a precious metal, but it's also used in a variety of different industries. No, copper is purely an industrial metal. So it's weighed in ounces, not troy ounces. A little bit confusing, especially if you just recently got started stacking, but I personally do not worry too much about copper. I stack it when it's free, and when I say free, I mean literally just finding it. If I go through my pocket change and I happen to notice that there is a 1981, 80, 79, 78, 76, any year pre-1982, each of these 95% copper. This right here is a 95% copper coin, which is actually pretty cool if you ask me. Now, in 1982, if you find any 82s out there, you probably have close to a 50-50 chance whether or not it's actually 95% copper or not. 1982 is the year that they stopped making 95% copper pennies. So I do have a handful of 82s right here. I don't know if they're 95% copper or not. I have to weigh them. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I keep them separate. These are all 1982s, and all of these right here, and this isn't even all of them, by the way, not all of my copper pennies, but all of these right here are pre-1982, which means they are 95% copper. That I got for free. Again, I do not convert my dollars into copper the way I do silver and gold. Copper is something that I only stack for free. I don't go out of my way looking for it. I'll go through some spare change while looking for some constitutional silver, and if I happen to find some pre-82 pennies, I'm going to set them aside, because guess what? They're worth more than 1 cent, that's for sure. And if the price of copper ends up really going up over an extended period of time, in a weird way, you can look at this as wealth preservation on a micro level, in a way. Now, before I get more into these, I want to talk about one more piece. This right here. This is my most recent piece of copper. It's a 2-ounce copper Aztec calendar round. It might look familiar because I do have a 5-ounce silver Aztec calendar round, which I display all of the time. This is one of my favorite pieces of silver ever. We're not going to pay too much attention to that in this video. This is the same thing, but a different metal and a different weight. 2 ounces instead of 5 ounces, copper instead of silver. Same design, just as beautiful. And I always talk about how silver is just such a beautiful white metal. I talk about how gold is such a beautiful yellow metal. Well, to be honest with you, I think copper is a beautiful red metal, so that's that right there. I just had to do it, not because it was copper, but because it was the Aztec calendar round. Moving away from that, I want to talk a little bit more about, I guess you can say, junk copper coins. Pre-1982, because of the copper content, to my understanding, they each weigh roughly 3.1 grams, which means all it takes is about 9 of them to equate to an ounce of copper. See, look at this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This right here, that's an ounce of copper right there. Now, copper doesn't go for very much. It's a very inexpensive metal. It has gone up over the last year, but still, even the fact that it's gone up, it's still very, very low. Now, post 1982, they're no longer 95% copper, and they are no longer 3.1 grams. I believe nowadays they are 2.5 grams a piece, and they're not 95% copper. So it would take, I want to say, 11 of them to equate to an ounce, but that's not an ounce of copper. That's just an ounce in weight if you have 11 pennies in your hand. But 82s and before, assuming that the 82s are still 95% copper, you got to weigh them to be sure. That's an ounce of copper right there. Only 9 copper pennies. And guess what? The cool thing about copper pennies is they're very easy to find, very easy to come by. In fact, I have a success rate of, if I had to guess, I don't know for sure, I've been saying this for a couple of years because I kind of calculated as I sort through, I have a success rate of about maybe 20, maybe 25%, somewhere around there, which means if I pick up 100 pennies, if I go to the bank with a dollar bill and be like, hey, I need 100 pennies, and I bring them home, and I sort through every single one of them, there's a good chance that roughly 20 to 25% of them will be pre-1982. 20 to 25% of them will be copper. Very easy to come by, very easy to find. If you're walking down the street and you see a copper penny on the ground, you have, I would assume, probably a 1 in 5 or maybe a 1 in 4 chance of it actually being copper, which is actually pretty cool if you ask me. I love copper. I love the way it looks. It's a very important industrial metal. It's a very versatile metal. It's an incredibly flexible metal. Copper is an incredible conductor of both heat and electricity. Not quite as good as silver, but it's up there. A very close second, along with a couple other metals as well. Point being is copper is a very important metal. It's very useful in a variety of different industries. It is specifically an industrial metal. It's not nearly as rare as silver, gold, platinum, palladium, rhodium. Copper is an industrial metal, but it's also a metal that not a lot of people pay attention to. It's a metal that a lot of people don't really worry about. It's a metal that I would say is kind of slept on, which is very similar to what I say about silver. And I know that there's a lot of people in the silver and gold stacking world who are highly against stacking copper because of how cheap it is and how much room it takes up. If you stack up a bunch of copper, it's going to take up so much space before it's even worth much at all. But the way I see it, if you're stacking it for free, it's not hurting your wallet, number one. And two, you don't have to hold on to it for very long. You can stack it for free when you find it. You can also stack or pick up copper wire or tubes or pipes if you're an electrician or a plumber, or if you know somebody that is. Very easy to find scrap copper. So if you get some scrap copper, or if you just sort through pennies and look for pre-82s and weigh the 82s, and I guess ignore the post 82s, you can just stack up a little bit of it until it's worth enough to trade for silver. You could trade the copper for silver just like that if you wanted to, or you could just sell the copper and take the cash and go and get yourself some silver. And who knows, maybe you have enough copper to sell, get some cash, and go get some gold instead. Who knows? Or you could just trade the copper for cash, get the silver, and then later down the road trade the silver for gold, and then rinse and repeat. This is a free way of getting your hands on silver. That's the way I see it. Now, this isn't all of my copper, but those two rounds right there are the only pieces of copper that I traded my dollars for. There's only one more copper round that I want to get my hands on, and it's just like essentially a copper eagle. It has the American Eagle design on it, so I kind of want to get one of those just because it would be kind of cool to have a copper eagle, I guess you can say, even though that's not really what it is. A point being, I don't worry too much about copper. I pick it up when it's free. I pick it up when it's convenient. I pick it up when I accidentally stumble upon it. And in a weird way, it's almost like wealth preservation on a micro level. Say what you want about copper. Oh, it's not worth anything. It'll never be worth anything. Stands a better chance than the dollar bill. I've come across some hardcore copper haters out there, and as soon as I say that, they say, oh, yeah, got a point there. Can't argue it. Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to copper. Do you stack it? Do you avoid it? Do you not worry about it? Did you never really consider it before? Let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Make sure you're subscribed. Also subscribe to my second channel, linked in the description. Make sure to join the Precious Metals VIP Club, also linked in the description. Also get yourself some DYDSS merchandise, t-shirts, hoodie stickers, and coffee mugs, linked in the description as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to Double Upload December, day 27.